everyone, it's Andy with Reverb. You know, these days every guitarist wants to play pedals, but the amp they're plugging into is just as important. So today we're going to be looking at some options to consider when choosing a pedal platform amp. Alright, let's start with low wattage amplifiers. Typically, a low watt tube amp will want to break up on its own. Case in point, this Tone King Gremlin is only on 2 and it's already giving me some natural overdrive. And this is fine if you're a guitarist who doesn't really want to plug into a lot of wet effects, just maybe a boost or a fuzz to take you into some solo territory. But watch what happens when I step on a reverb pedal going into the front end of the amplifier, which is already overdriving on its own. As you can hear, the reverb tails are absolutely getting saturated, and it sort of gets muddy, especially if you're looking for a solo tone that's more clear and articulate. However, there are genres of music that do use this approach, it's just not the most conventional. So if you're thinking low wattage amplifiers are right for you, but you want a bit more headroom, there's a lot to choose from and at different price points, from the new Harmony 8418 combo to the classic Fender Princeton Reverb and even the Benson Monarch. The next amp I want to show you is probably the epitome of pedal platform, and that's the Fender Deluxe Reverb. There's a reason I've been using this one for over a decade, and that's because even at 22 watts, you could turn it up to stage volume and it maintains its clarity and headroom and really allows your pedals to shine through, even in a complex arrangement. The other thing I love about high headroom amplifiers is that there's always room to grow, meaning if you want to use a high output setting, whether it's a compressor, tremolo, or overdrive or boost, you could always hear that difference immediately, as opposed to a low wattage amplifier that's already hitting that ceiling. It's not going to be as noticeable. So if you're looking for high headroom amplifiers with stage-ready, clean volume, definitely check out what Fender has to offer, like the Deluxe here or even the more powerful Twin Reverb. You can also check out some offerings from Supro, like their Jupiter, and even the Car Rambler, which has clean headroom for days. So let's say you want to benefit from having all that high headroom for your pedals, but still access all that natural tube overdrive in your amp while still using your pedal board. Well, it sounds like you need a dual channel amp with an onboard effects loop, or in the case of this Rocker 32 from Orange, a stereo effects loop. The main benefit of an effects loop is that you could take all those time-based effects that would normally sound muddy into a dirty amp and place them post-gain. And when you have a stereo effects loop like we have today, you could use something like the Keeley Delay Workstation and really benefit from the full stereo spread. All right, we've switched over to the dirty channel, and here's a great time to show you the difference between putting something like a reverb pedal pre or post gain. I'll start with it with the Ocean's 11 going into the dirty amp, and then show the Keeley with a similar setting post gain. And I think the difference is really clear. So as you could probably hear, when I stepped on the Ocean's 11, the tails were very saturated and it really sort of accentuated those upper frequencies. Meanwhile, when I stepped on the Keeley, which was post gain, it sounded much more organic and natural, almost like the amp had built-in spring reverb. So now knowing this, let's take full advantage, step on an overdrive, which will be pre-gain, and use some delay and reverb in the effects loop. Well, hopefully that helps you out in your search for a pedal platform amplifier. Of course, you could find amps in all shapes and sizes and wattages right here on Reverb. Thanks for watching.